Hello everyone, the MLG Skylander Man 360 here today, and today we are reacting to The Mandalorian versus the Courier. I actually am kind of not questioning the matchup, but I question is where will this go? As for me personally, I have watched The Mandalorian. It's been a while since I've seen it. I know only the part about him is that of a code of honor that he basically can never remove his helmet. He is basically high-tech gear into Mandalorian armor. He is probably one of the few that has wielded the dark saber. Or that could be Boba Fett. I could be putting that in wrong statement at some points. Like I said, it's been a while since I've watched the show. I'm going to go back and rewatch it just for myself and sake. And the Courier, aka from Fallout, New Las Vegas, which is actually interesting. This is actually one of the few Fallout characters I would least expect, but hey, something unique here. I actually have played New Las Vegas. I haven't really gotten far. I have to say, his story kind of makes sense. Not he was killed, but somehow brought back to he or she is killed and brought back to life. It's crazy to me how this character works. Now, in all fairness, I don't know if the fight would have them technically. Let's say they fight the cruiser. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm not gonna say this. Like the Courier. I'm gonna say cruiser. Why the heck? I don't know what is canon with the cruiser. Courier. Oh my god. Where are we getting cruiser from? Man, not a day for me. The Courier. I think it's more likely. I don't know if it's a male that's the canon version or the female. I have no clue. I haven't played the game that long to know. But I'm curious to learn this character more around as we go on with the fight. But anyway, guys, without any further ado, let's begin the reaction. Almost at the wrong thing.
Din Djarin, the enigmatic Mandalorian of the Star Wars galaxy. Courier 6, followed spacewalker of New Vegas. Today, we answer the age-old question. What happens when you take a classic Western flick and give the characters heavy laser weaponry and high-tech armor? Each wears an arm boomstick, and it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle. Throughout the galaxy, perhaps no group is as feared as the legendary Mandalorians. Some of the best fighters out there, even Jedi turn tail when up against them, and they can back up their reputation, having fought the Jedi in full-on wars before. Though, being a Mandalorian means more than just being from the planet Mandalore. It is an oath, a creed that others can be brought into the fold of should they swear to it. A creed that young Din Djarin found forced upon him at a very early age. His home destroyed by separatists when he was only a young boy, Din was rescued and taken in as a foundling by the Children of the Watch, a more conservative offshoot of mainstream Mandalorian culture. This clan was even more hardcore than your average Mandalorian group, to the point that members weren't even allowed to ever expose their face to another living being. Molded into a deadly fighter, Din would soon become a respected and feared member of the Bounty Hunters Guild, simply being known as the Mandalorian. A man of few words, Din would track and bring down countless bounties with pinpoint efficiency, including some pretty notable targets, like his most iconic mark, the former Jedi youngling Grogu. However, it was Grogu that would spark a change of heart in the Mandalorian. Forming a bond with the child, Din would betray his employers and rescue Grogu from their clutches, and the pair would embark on all manner of adventures across the galaxy. And the Mandalorian was certainly well equipped for these adventures. His suit's made of a special metal called Beskar, one of the most valuable substances out there. It's nigh indestructible, even being able to effortlessly deflect blasters and lightsabers. The same lightsabers that can cut through reinforced steel bunker doors and cleave through basically anything else out there. It's even tough enough to shrug off thermal detonators. While they may look small, these bad boys can explode with an energy yield of 3.5 tons of TNT. So, of course, like any set of plate mail, there are small gaps between the Beskar made of more conventional materials. Make no mistake though, he's still totally covered in armor, some is just more effective than others. And while the armor itself is basically unbreakable, certain kinds of attacks, like intense electricity for example, can cook the wearer while leaving the armor undamaged. Fortunately, Mando had plenty of weapons to defend himself against would-be threats with. His go-to was his trusty
Really?
sidearm.
He could do that?
IB-94 blaster pistol capable of firing deadly laser blasts in close quarters engagements. And for more long-range operations, he has his deadly Ambin phase pulse blaster, a viciously effective sniper rifle. It's more than just your regular sniper. It fires disrupting pulses of electricity that disorient and electrocute foes. At full power, it's even able to totally disintegrate someone. It can also be used as a remote listening device and can pick up noise from long distances, though they both pale in comparison to his two greatest weapons. Firstly, his whistling birds, bracers loaded with several mini tracking rockets. Mando can use these to clear out rooms full of people without breaking a sweat, though he does have a limited amount. And, of course, the legendary Mandalorian weapon known as the Darksaber. Only earnable through combat, the Darksaber almost seems to have a mind of its own. It's effectively a lightsaber, being able to space through just about anything out there. Though, like a lightsaber, one needs a lot of practice to properly wield it, something which Mando hasn't quite completed yet. His combat with it is typically a lot less graceful than with his other weapons. With his weapons, armor, and skills, he'd fight his way out of countless pickles. He's fought mercenaries, rancors, imperial robots, the list goes on. He's got non-combat tools as well, like a fiber cord whip that can be used to climb, trip, and restrain people, an iconic Mandalorian jetpack that lets him fly, and of course his trusty Starship, a modified N-1 starfighter, equipped with blaster cannons and a proton torpedo launcher. He's crossed paths with legends like Luke Skywalker, Boba Fett, and Ahsoka Tano, even fighting with and alongside Boba. No small feat, considering this is the same guy who fights Force users that can react at the speed of light. Eventually, he would succeed in returning Grogu to the Jedi, but Grogu had a different choice in mind. Grogu would choose to stay with Din, becoming his own foundling. Taking him under his wing once more, Din and Grogu set off for their next adventure. Yeah, whatever that may be. Make no mistake, Din's newfound friends and family doesn't mean he's gone soft. He may be an adoptive father now, but he's not afraid to throw down when things go south. Hell, after adopting Grogu, he's arguably more of a badass than he used to be. Even after finding other Mandalorians who are more lax in their code, he never strayed from his way, his sacred oath. He is still a Mandalorian after all, the Mandalorian. Weapons are a part of his religion, and that's not hyperbole. Every instrument of death he wields is a venerated and respected tool of the faith. Even the armor he wears, forged in sacred rituals, is a mark of all he's accomplished, and the dread that his name should bring. Well, if you even know his name, that is. To the galaxy, he's simply the Mandalorian. So you better hope there's not a bounty on your head or you've pissed him off. Well, unless you have a death wish, that is. If you do, then this is the way to have it granted.
Buy yourself a drink. Is that a bounty puck? Is that me? Look, there must be some mistake. I can get you more credits.
I can bring you in warm, or I can bring you in cold.
Oh, Jesus.
Literally the free version of Netflix.
This is such a bullshit.
The year was 2077. Political tensions were high in the ongoing Sino-American War, and on a fateful October 23rd, that tension was broken by fire in the sky. Scorched by nuclear Armageddon, the United States of America was reduced to a wasteland. Those left alive on the surface had to contend with mutated monsters, the likes of which the world had never seen. But hope persevered in the inhabitants of the wastes. Thanks in part to the exploits of a certain vault dweller, civilization was slowly but surely returning, with the new government known as the New California Republic, or NCR, beginning to muster resources. Flash forward to the year 2281. The wasteland had become, well, still not great by any stretch of the imagination, but surprisingly bearable. There were societies, businesses, cultures. Just try to ignore the rampant drug use and bands of murderous fiends. One spot in particular remained relatively untouched by the apocalypse altogether. the glistening gem of the Mojave, the city of New Vegas. See, turns out before the bombs dropped, the CEO of the robotics company Robco, Mr. House, had been operating a casino in Las Vegas, the Lucky 38, and he could tell nuclear war was on the horizon. As such, he invested as much as he could, fortifying Vegas to protect it from assailment. It actually worked pretty well. Vegas was spared most of destruction and remained a haven for the wealthy and powerful, with Mr. House himself attaining pseudo-immortality via a specialized sealed chamber that allowed him to broadcast via monitor screens and control his own personal army of Securitron robots. But there was one last thing he needed, the Platinum Chip, a specialized data storage unit he never got the chance to use that would upgrade his Securitrons and get the factories churning out more. It was lost during the war, but now, hundreds of years later, it had been found. Mr. House hired 6 couriers, each carrying a different package to throw off potential saboteurs, and soon enough the chip was en route back to him. And this is where the story of Courier 6 begins. Courier 6, carrying the chip, was ambushed by another Vegas tycoon, Benny, along with Great Khan mercenaries he had hired. Quickly overpowered, the courier was robbed of the chip and promptly shot in the head, being left to die in a shallow grave as Benny made the return trip to Vegas. But as you can imagine, the courier wasn't quite dead. Being saved by the doctor of the nearby town of Goodsprings, Courier 6 was brought back to full health and was ready to recover the chip and confront Benny. Though the journey back to Vegas would be long and treacherous. Monsters like Deathclaws and Cazadors, and even other people. Criminals like the Powder Gangers, raiders like the Fiends, and the ever-looming dominant threat that was Kaiser's Legion. It's Caesar, Wiz. No, Kaiser, that's how the Romans said it. Romans schmomans, the only Caesar I care about is the dressing. You eat salad? Nah, but that skeleton guy who was in the studio last time told me to try guzzling the bottle. It's pretty good. Okay, well, fortunately, the courier had been given a gift from the good doctor before leaving. The doc's old Pip-Boy, a piece of highly advanced technology that the courier could use to track their vitals, store information, display maps, and tune into the radio. But most usefully, it gave them greatly enhanced aiming ability via the use of a vault-assisted targeting system, or VATS. With VATS, the courier could aim at exact body parts with their attacks, or even be so precise as to shoot explosives like dynamite right out of the air. Their quick draw is so speedy with VATS that they're able to perceive their surroundings as stopped in time. Even things like laser beams and pulses of radiation. Even without VATS, the couriers would be comparable to other heroes of the waste, like the Lone Wanderer, who could dodge microwaves. If that title of hero didn't give it away, the courier became a legend in the Mojave. Not only would they track down and recover the chip from Benny, they'd decide the fate of the waste as a whole. Whether they sided with the NCR, Legion, Mr. House, or went off on their own as a wild card. They've taken down more foes than you can count, and even then little is known about them. They usually rock their iconic NCR Ranger combat armor, but when the going gets especially tough, they can break out their T-45 power armor, a battle suit of high-tech ass-kicking. Or, for a more subtle touch, they have their Mark II stealth suit, a highly advanced piece of technology capable of cloaking the wearer and automatically administering medicine.
With that one
it even
suit.
comes with its own AI. Yeah, the courier has no shortage of tech at their disposal. They're packing some serious heat. Pistols, revolvers, assault rifles, sniper rifles, shotgun, flamethrowers, knives, grenades, grenade launchers, the list goes on. They've got a selection of ammo types as well, like hollow point rounds for unarmored targets, or armor-piercing for more tanky opponents. Even beyond their more conventional weapons, they've got stuff straight out of sci-fi, like laser and plasma guns, even powerful electric Tesla cannons. And, of course, as a fellow appreciator of things that go boom, they've got real big guns like the Red Glare, an automatic rocket launcher, and the iconically devastating Fat Man, a miniature nuke launcher. Speaking of nukes, the courier can survive whole warheads detonating in their face, and their weapons hit just as hard. They're a beast, and even if they do get hurt, they've got plenty of stims and drugs to make up for it. Using their assortment of stims, they can heal, increase their accuracy, make themselves tougher, slow their perception of time, turn invisible, instantly mend broken bones, and boost both their physical and mental attributes. They also just have a teleportation device. It's rather limited in application, but the courier is in possession of the Big MT Transportal Ponder, letting them teleport to and from the advanced science labs of the Big Empty. Though their real superweapon is Archimedes, a massive satellite installation. The courier can use a targeting laser to call down a devastating blast from orbit. though this takes an immense amount of power and can only be done once a day. The Courier is a master of all forms of combat. Guns, energy and melee weapons, unarmed, explosives, you get the idea. They're also an absolute genius. Computers, medicine, diplomacy, lockpicking, stealth, you name it. Handy for when their weapons aren't reliable. Yeah, for as much firepower as the Courier is packing, their weapons and armor aren't foolproof and can break after extended use. They've also only got so much ammo to work with. If they run out in a fight, well, tough luck. From the Mojave Desert to the crags of the Divide. From the woods of Zion National Park to the mountains of the Big Empty. And in the midst of the Sierra Madre and beyond, the Courier is a legend of the wastes. Some say for good, some say for evil. But everyone has a story. Maybe the real story of the Courier is lost to time. Everything changes. Truths blend and bleed into fiction. Who knows what really happened? Who knows what the real truth of Courier 6 is? Surely, not all the legends and stories can be true. A wanderer walking the wastes, big iron on their hip. Crossing paths with them may seem like a 16-carat run of bad luck. But truth is, the game was rigged from the start. It's unfair. War always is, because war never changes.
And so the Courier's road came to an end, for now. In the new world of the Mojave Wasteland, fighting continued, blood was spilled, and many lived and died, just as they had in the old world. Because war never changes.
Nice.
Alright, the combatants are set. We've run the data through all possibilities. It's time for a death battle!
See where this is gonna go. Why y'all do this crap? Niggas.
Let's make this quick.
Okay.
You've got some tech people are willing to pay for, and a bounty on your head. So, I can bring you in warm, or I can bring you in cold. Cold it is.
Huh. Ooh. Ooh. Oh Lord, I think that's really fine. I'm picturing this in my head how it was. That's honestly cool. So the Carrier is like a silent character. I like that.
This one looks pretty tough. Fighting over.
Where are you hiding?
Oh crap, he's in the... Oh, he's in the suit. Oh no. Oh crap. Oh, add animation. Oh, he's exposed. Oh no. Please tell me the fallout thing. Squeeze him over. Oh. Oh. Oh, that would have been so funny if the fallout thing. I would have. Hey.
Heyo! So, how many bottle caps do you think Grogu's worth? Too soon? This was an interesting matchup to look at, but once everything was laid out, the winner became pretty apparent. Starting with their raw firepower, Courier 6's arsenal was a lot more impressive than what Mando was packing. Din's weaponry was deadly, but even some of the Courier's more basic weapons could match it. And Mando didn't really have anything on par with rapid-fire rocket launchers, nuke cannons, or orbital satellite lasers. Similarly, when talking about defense, both of them had extremely protective armor on. But perhaps surprisingly, Mando's had more faults in it than the Courier's. For starters, Courier 6's armor was just better at protecting them. Mando could tank thermal detonators packing over 3.5 tons of TNT, but Courier 6 could power through close-range warhead detonations. In addition, the precise targeting granted to the Courier by rats would let them pinpoint the weak spots in Mando's armor, shooting him in the gaps between the Beskar. Even in the event Mando's non-Beskar armor was tough enough to block Courier 6's shots, armor-piercing rounds would do the trick. And if all else fails, the Courier had access to high-power electrical weapons, which have been shown to be able to kill Mandalorians before even through their armor. Though the Mandalorian did still have one way to win, the Darksaber. Since it's functionally a lightsaber, it'd be able to cut through Courier 6 no problem if Mando could close the gap. The problem, as you can imagine, is doing that. Yeah, turns out, as any classic Western should, this boiled down to a quick draw of who could draw their killing weapon first. In Mando's case, the Darksaber, and in the Courier's case, well, any number of options. So let's look at speed. Mando can fight on par with Boba Fett, who was capable of going head-to-head with Jedi who could react at the speed of light. But surprisingly, Courier 6 was faster on the draw. Not only could they compare to the likes of the Lone Wanderer, who could dodge microwaves, already requiring speeds faster than what Mando can be compared to, but Courier 6 had multiple ways of slowing and downright stopping their perception of time.
That was such an overkill,
dude.
dude.
With the fact that Mando usually uses the Darksaber as a last resort. He wouldn't be quick enough on the draw before Courier 6 gunned him down. Mando did have a lot more training and experience than the Courier, but even with that edge, the Courier had enough skill to match. That would also let the Courier disable Mando's jetpack or shoot down the whistling birds midair. Effectively, Mando found the bulk of his arsenal outclassed, and he'd be too slow to use it anyways. The Courier also had plenty of healing options, letting them recover from any damage Mando managed to land. Courier 6's armor and weapons would break if Mando hit them enough, and they could of course run out of ammo, but given how much Mando would be struggling to land any hit before Courier 6 pulls the trigger, Neither of those would really be factors. Din's reputation follows him for a reason, but his skill wasn't enough to hold up to Courier 6's devastating arsenal and legendary quick draw. This is the way that Mando goes down, and that never changes. The winner is Courier 6.
I'm just as good as you.
Alrighty, so it's Monokuma. I already know which one this could be. Goro Sensei? Yep. Now this is a different one. Interesting. Wonder how this will play out in comparison to the others. Oh, man. Yep. But yeah, I have to admit, that is actually kind of interesting. I almost, and I understand the laughter here for anyone. But Fallout's whole system of the quick shot, I tell you what, if he had missed, that would have made me laugh. That would have made me laugh. I know the fight's supposed to be taken seriously. You shouldn't use gameplay mechanics as a logical thing in a fight. It just, for some reason, makes me laugh. But, considering he won, or she, I have to say that was interesting. I really enjoyed that. Anyway, guys, if you enjoyed that reaction, please like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see y'all in the next one. Later.